Hi everyone, so this is tutorial sheet 2, question 1, 2 and 3. So I left these questions, but some people came back and said no, please, we need the solutions for those questions. That's the reason why I've come back to answer them again. So now I'm going to answer question 1, question 2 and question 3 in one tutorial. So I'll start with question 1. Question 1 is saying find the quadrant that contains the terminal side of theta if the given condition is true. So you take sine theta less than 0. So this is the first one. So you take sine theta, you draw a you draw a quadrant plane here. So you know that sine theta is only less than 0. This is, they say, all soldiers take cover, or all students take coffee. I don't know how you master it. All soldiers take cover. So we know that sine theta is only greater than 0 in the first quadrant and in the second quadrant. And then cos theta is only less than 0 in the, so cos theta is only less than 0 in the second quadrant and in the third quadrant and second quadrant. So what do they mean when they say sine theta is greater than 0 or cos theta is less than 0? They are simply asking you to find the quadrant. So we know to say in the first quadrant all trig ratios are positive, and then in every quadrant that particular trig ratio found in that quadrant is positive. For instance, sine is only positive here where there is a sine and in the first quadrant. Cos is only positive where there is cos and in the first quadrant. Tan is the third quadrant and the first quadrant. So where you are going to find two ticks, that's where your answer lies. So for the first part here, for question A, for question A, they are asking us to find the quadrant that contains the terminal side. So for question A, it is the second quadrant. So for question A is the second quadrant. We move on to B. So for question B, they are saying tan theta is less than 0 and cos theta is less than 0. So we know to say cos theta is only, so cos theta, let me first write this plane. Okay, so we know to say tan theta is only less than 0 in the second and the third, because we know that in the third where tan is positive, and in the first tan is positive. So when we say tan is positive, we simply mean that it's less than, or tan is positive is greater than 0, and when we say tan is negative, then it's less than 0. So let's move on to cos. So for cos theta, the quadrants where cos is less than 0 are this third quadrant, less than 0, sorry. So less than 0, it's this one and that one. So again, where two ticks are found, that's the solution. So this is also the second quadrant. We move on to C. So C, when I answer C, it means that I've answered almost the remaining ones here. Okay, I'll answer C and one of the remaining ones there. So C is saying find the quadrant in which tan is greater than 0 and cot is less than 0. Okay, let's see this. Very interesting. So tan theta is only greater than 0 in the first quadrant where all trig ratios are positive, and where it is in the third quadrant like that. I think at one point I mentioned this to be the third quadrant. This is the fourth quadrant. And then we look at cot now. Cot is written as cotangent is the same as 1 over tan. So 1 over tan does not change anything in terms of the sign when tan is greater or equal to 0, or is greater or less than 0. So when we say tan 30, if we say, let's take for instance tan 45, we know to say tan, so we know to say tan 45 gives positive 1. Let us try to find cot 45. So cot 45 will be, cot 45 will be equal to 1 over tan theta, meaning 1 over tan 45. So this is tan theta this side, then this is cot theta. So it's going to be 1 over tan theta. So 1 over tan 45, we know that tan 45 is 1. So 1 over tan 45 is just the same as 1 over 1, which will still give you a positive number 1. If the answer for tan 45 was a negative number, the answer here will still have been a negative number. I guess you get the concept there. So this implies that when we say tan 45 is equal to 1, when we say tan theta is greater than 0, we are just talking about the quadrants where tan is positive. And when we say cot theta is less than 0, we are just talking about the quadrants where tan is negative. So the quadrants where tan is negative are the second and the third, and the fourth, sorry. So if we don't have a point where we have two arrows, or a quadrant where we have two ticks representing the terminal angle, it seems that the condition is not true. The condition that has been given is not true, because even the question here is saying the terminal side of theta, if the given condition is true, so meaning our condition here is not true, because it's not giving us what we want. So this condition is not true. Okay, so I'll just write it, the condition not true. So the condition is not true. Let me also pick something here, maybe E. Let me also answer E. Then after answering E, we quickly go to question 2. So E is saying cosec theta is less than 0 and cot theta is greater than 0. So the quadrants where cosec theta is greater than 0, let me just write this quickly. So the quadrants where cosec theta is greater than 0 are just the same quadrants where sine is greater than 0, because we know that cosec is just the same as 1 over sine. We know that cosec is just the same as 1 over sine theta. So the quadrants where cosec theta is greater than 0 are the same quadrants where sine theta is greater than 0, or the same quadrants where 1 over sine theta is greater than 0. So the quadrants where 1 over sine theta is greater than 0 are the same quadrants where sine is greater than 0, which are the first and the second quadrants. So in the first and the second quadrant, sine is positive. Let's now check cot theta. Cot theta, as I earlier on said here, the quadrants where cot theta is greater than 0 are the same quadrants where tan theta is greater than 0. So which quadrants are having tan theta to be greater than 0? And of course it's the third and the first quadrant. So where 2 ticks are found, that's where my answer lies. So here E, the solution for E is the first quadrant. So it's the first quadrant. So please, as you are even watching these, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out the videos that I'm going to be posting. All right, let's proceed. Let's proceed. Question 2. So question 2 is saying, without using a calculator, change each of the following angles in degree to radian measure. So on this one, you just have to know one condition, that's so. Once you know that condition, you never get any of question 1, question 2, or question 3 type of question wrong. All right, let's see this. So you've been given your A to be 420 degrees. So your A is 420 degrees, and then they're asking you to convert it to a radian measure. So we know to say pi in radians. So pi in radians is just equivalent to or equal to 180 degrees. So pi in radians is just the same as 180 degrees. So I'll put my degrees that have been given here to the sides of the degrees, which is 420. I've been given 420. So 420 degrees, that's what I've been given. And then I need to find I need to find what this 420 is in radians. So I'm going to multiply, I'm going to cross multiply here, I'm going to cross multiply 420 times pi, I'm going to get 420 pi. And then I'm going to say equals 180 times x, I'm going to get 180 x. And then I'll divide everything by 180. I'll divide everything by 180. And then I'll get my x to be. So you can reduce this to its lowest term 0. You cancel that 0 and that 0. So you remain with 42 over 18. So when you divide 42 by 18, you get your answer in the fraction form to be 7 over 3. Sorry, this is 3. 7 over 3 pi. So this is going to be 73 pi in radians. Let me just remove this. Okay. So this is your A. So I'm done with A. So you do the same even with B. So for B, I'm pretty sure you'll find something like when you divide 570 by 180, you are going to have your answer to be somewhere 19 over 16. So for B, try it on your own, try it yourself alone. and see to it that you get 19 over 6 as your answer. 19 over 6 pi in radians. That is your answer on B. Same applies to negative 45. So C is negative 45. You use the same thing. Pi in radians is equal to 180 degrees. So we got 180 degrees, and then you put your what? You put your degrees this side, which is negative 45. Then you put x this side. Then finding the value of x there, you discover that your solution is going to be C is negative 0.25, which is the same as negative 1 over 4. When you find the solution there, you find it to be negative 1 over 4 pi in radians. So this is how you find your solutions. Same applies to that negative 150. Negative 150, try it on your own. You find your, this is D. You should be able to find your answer to be negative 150. When you divide it by 180, you get your answer as negative 5 over 6. So this should be your answer after finding the solution. Negative 5 over 6 pi in radians. So this is how you solve question 2. Let's see how we can solve question 3 as well. Question 3. So question 3 is saying, without using a calculator, change each of the following angles to degrees measure. So this one is just the opposite of question 2. That's why I decided to put them in the same tutorial video. So you still have to use the same. Let me just do this. Okay, you still have to use the same. The same rule which says pi in radians. Pi in radians is equal to 180 in degrees. It's equal to 180 in degrees. So you put your radians this side where they are radians. So 4 over 3. So 4 over 3 pi is equal to x. Then you find your x there. You simplify it. You cross multiply there, and then divide by pi. Or if you want, you can just say this and that, this. Then this pi cancels with that pi, and then x times 1 this side, you get your x. And then 4 over 3 times 180, you are getting something. Is it 240? Yeah, you are getting 240. So it is 240 degrees in. So pi 4 over 3 pi is just the same as 240 degrees in degrees. Yeah. Same applies to the second part there. Pi over 12. This is question B. This is B. Pi over 12. Pi over 12, and then the way you solve this again, you say pi is equal to 180. So pi is equal to 180. Then this side over pi over 12. This side over x. You don't know what pi over 12 is in degrees. So this is x degrees. So you cross this pi and that pi cancels. You're going to have 1 there and 1 there. You cross multiply x times 1, you get your x this side, and then is equal to, then 1 over 12 times 180. It's just the same as 180 divided by 12, which will give you 15 degrees. So this is 15 in degrees measure. So same applies this side. So this side, make sure, try to solve it alone on the separate paper. You have to find these answers here. Oh sorry, this is C. So this is C, and then we have our D here. Try to solve it on a separate paper. Your C should come out as negative 495. Negative 495. So try to solve that. Should be negative 495 degrees, and then your D should come out at negative 150 degrees. So try to solve them on your paper and check if you're going to get the same answers. And we are done with question 1, 2, and 3. So thank you very much for watching the videos in the tutorial, in this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Next time, make sure that you don't miss out the videos. And the only way you can make sure that you don't miss out the videos, you can switch on your notification button on your YouTube, so that every video that I post on YouTube, you are able to access it, you are able to see it. It should be able to come on your homepage of YouTube. So switch on your notification button, and then please, if you have any questions, you can send to this line on WhatsApp, and I will be able to answer you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as usual.